What's up, what it do, cyber world? It is your girl, the one, the only Ash Brown, and this is the Ash Brown Uncensored Show. On this program, I talk a little bit about everything under the sun. It may be pop culture related. It may be Ash Brown related. You just gotta stay tuned to see which one I'm gonna talk about. You just gotta see. Okay, so today's topic, I was perusing on the social platforms, of course, and I saw a few posts in regards to emotional abuse. And I've dealt with that in relationships more times than I really care to deal with, in all honesty. So I wanted to share some of the signs and some of the things that I've had to deal with in relationships. And while I've dealt with it in several relationships, there was one in particular that made me very hypersensitive to sensing this type of behavior from men. And so here it goes. And well, I'll say signs of a toxic male, because not all males should be considered men. That's just my personal opinion. It is what it is. I said it. It's my show, doggone it. So I can say what I want to say. I can say it however I want to say it. People don't think that emotional abuse is damaging, but it very much is. And it's just as scarring. It can be just as scarring as physical abuse. Because just because someone hasn't put their hands on you, playing psychological tricks and games and all this other stuff, all of that is still hurtful. All of that can still mess up your mental state. All that can just destroy your self-image. It really can. And before I go into the different signs that I saw that I ignored, and I recognize it now, I want to give you a little bit about the headspace that I was in when I was dealing with this person. During this time, I had just buried my grandfather. My mother was ill. My baby sister was ill. I had a lot of stuff on my plate, and I needed a distraction. I needed something to take my mind off of it, something that wasn't medical related, something that wasn't family related, something that would just take my mind off of it. And talking to this guy halfway across the country was something to do. I recognize it for what it is now. I really do. And that doesn't make what I did right. I definitely don't stand by that, because what I did wasn't right. But at the same token, I endured a lot of just foolishness in this situation. So I was just not in a good place mentally. So first sign number one, if they've got a problem with their mother, they don't have a good relationship with their mother, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to have a good relationship with you. This person, his mother lied about who his father was, lied about his paternity like his whole life. And when everything came to light, she was not remorseful, and he became very resentful of her. And at first, everything was cool. You know, we were talking and all that stuff. And then it was just like a light switch went off in his head, and he was just like turning into just Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So that was the first sign that I needed to distance myself from this person. But I didn't. I did not. I continued to entertain the talks. I continued to entertain the texts. I continued. Why? Because I needed a distraction for that time period. I recognize it. I totally take responsibility. This is not me playing the victim. This is not me, oh, woe was me, he did this, he did that. I understand my part in the equation. I totally get that now. But when you're in the storm, it's hard to see the forest for the trees. Next little sign. This little psychopath. He asked me to co-sign on a brand new Chevrolet Cavalier. And I literally laughed in his face. I laughed at him. I was like, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. I'm not signing. co-sign on a car with a guy that I'm talking to? Are you crazy? Because if you're crazy, then that would explain so much of this. It would make total sense. You're crazy. I've never co-signed on a car, and I think that this was a way for him to see if I was really boo-boo the fool and if I was really going to go for that craziness. Yeah, didn't go for it. And I still continued to entertain this person, still was talking. He became very controlling, even from a distance. He would get upset if I didn't answer the phone by the third ring, and then would proceed to leave me very derogatory, negative voice messages, text messages. He would blow my stuff up. I would have like anywhere from 20 to 30 voice messages from him, just all like small little sound bites of, well, you're this and you're that and you're terrible. I know you doing this. I know you doing that. Why? Because he was out there doing stuff. Guilty conscience, guilty conscience. It's something else. And I think the nail that finally sealed the coffin to him was me going through, and everybody that knows a little bit about my story, my mom passed as I went off to basic training for the Army. And he thought that it was appropriate to tell me, well, people die sometimes and you just have to get over it. That's when I was like, okay, I can't even pretend to entertain this. I'm not even going to sit up here and pretend that what you're saying is cool, what you're saying is all right, what you're saying, I'm complicit. No. And I proceeded to break up with him. He went into a temper tantrum because that's just what he's used to. You know, some people, they are used to creating the victim mentality. Woe is me, everyone comes after me, and I'm just such a good person, and I've never been to jail, and all of this other crazy stuff. And then when the tantrums don't work, then the name calling starts, and then calling you out of your name. You've done nothing. You've done nothing that is really deserving of this type of behavior. But this person decided that he was going to call me all kind of out of names and all this other stuff. And I said, I'm done. And so when he saw that that wasn't getting a reaction, he then proceeded to threaten to kill himself, to take his own life, and blame me in turn. And that didn't work out for him either, because I just don't entertain that type of stuff. I don't. But he was a difficult one to get rid of, because I was one of those people, and I'm sorry, I don't want it to sound like I'm just discarding people, but I'm the type of person, when I want to get ghosts, I just get ghosts and that's it. Done deal. This person just kept on popping up every couple of years and had this to say, had that to say. But at the end of it, I control my own narrative. No one controls that narrative but me. And so I had to pull back the ranks on what the heck I was doing. And he reached out to me a few years later and was not apologetic, but tried to put the blame on me, and I did this and I did that, and we should talk and blah, blah, blah. And I just cut it really short, sweet, and to the point. There is no reason for us to be in communication. He wasn't having that, wanted to go doing the back and forth thing. I'm not entertaining that, bro. I'm not entertaining that. And once you put that out there that you are not about certain things, you can't do certain things to me, you're not going to be able to talk to me any kind of way, eventually they listen. They don't have no choice. That's the point blank period. But the minute that I meet guys today and they're showing signs of that, or they're showing that, oh, they're looking for this type of woman or that, I can only be me. Point blank period. That's it. Stick a fork in it. I can only be me. I'm not going to pretend to be anyone else. I'm not going to emulate someone else's style or try to be anything other than me. That's just it. So, yeah, emotional abuse, it's real. It's damaging. And usually it says something about you in that present state. It says more about you than it does the other person sometimes. And you'll put up with all these crazy things. I'll be, well, that person is terrible. They're a rotten person. But you putting up with it, it says more about what you think about yourself. When you know you don't deserve something, you're not going to put any time or effort into it. You're going to kick that to the side. You're going to be done with that. But when you know that you get what you deserve and you get paired with that person that you deserve to be paired with, it's a whole different ball game. So that's my little tidbit. I hope that you guys have a great, wonderful, fantabulous week. I will holler at y'all later. Deuces.